They laughed at him. They rejected his work. Even Toyota told him he wasn't good enough. But the blacksmith's son refused to give up. From a ruined factory, in a war-torn country, he strapped tiny engines onto bicycles and unknowingly started a revolution. This is not just the story of a company. This is the story of a man who turned rejection into power, failure into fuel, and a small workshop into one of the greatest motor empires in history. Welcome to the incredible journey of Honda. In 1906, in a small Japanese village, a boy named Soichiro Honda was born. His father was a humble blacksmith, fixing broken tools and bicycles for neighbors. His mother wove cloth to keep the family alive. Life was hard, but the little boy's eyes always lit up whenever he saw a machine. He wasn't interested in textbooks. Instead, he would sneak away from school and spend hours in the workshop, smelling the iron, listening to the hammer striking metal, and watching gears turn. While other children dreamed of becoming doctors or teachers, little Soichiro dreamed of engines that could roar like thunder. One day, when a noisy, smoking car rumbled through his village, young Honda ran after it barefoot. The sound, the smell, the power, it was love at first sight. He told himself, "One day, I will make machines like this. One day, I will not just watch them pass, I will build them." By the 1930s, Soichiro Honda grew into a young man with rough hands and wild ambition. He founded a small company called Tokai Seiki, where he tried to make piston rings for cars. He poured his soul into the designs, barely sleeping, always covered in oil and dust. With trembling hands, he finally carried his piston rings to Toyota, Japan's rising car company. He believed this was his chance. But after a quick inspection, Toyota's engineers frowned. The metal was weak, the design imperfect. They rejected him. The rejection broke his heart. His employees left him. Neighbors whispered that he was wasting his life. Even his friends told him to give up. But Soichiro Honda was no ordinary man. Instead of quitting, he made a bold choice. He went back to school. He studied mechanical engineering, humbly learning the skills he lacked. Night after night, he worked, sweating in the dim light of a single lamp. He promised himself, "Next time, they won't laugh. Next time, they will see my worth." Years later, he returned to Toyota with new piston rings, stronger, sharper, better. This time, Toyota accepted. Honda finally tasted victory. His factory began supplying Toyota. His dream had taken its first step. But fate wasn't done testing him. During World War II, tragedy struck. Bombs rained on Japan. His factory was destroyed twice. When he rebuilt, an earthquake shattered it again. In the end, his life's work lay in ruins. Most men would have surrendered, but not Honda. With his workshop gone, he sold what remained to Toyota and walked away. It was the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. After the war, Japan was devastated. Cities were ashes, people were hungry, and fuel was scarce. Cars were too expensive, and bicycles were the only way most people could move. But even pedaling was exhausting in a land struggling to survive. And that's when Soichiro Honda saw something others didn't: opportunity in the ruins. Using scraps of engines from old military machines, Honda strapped small motors onto bicycles. The result? A motorized bike that could carry people with little effort. Neighbors gasped. Villagers cheered. The bikes spread like wildfire. For ordinary people, it wasn't just a machine, it was freedom. This was the birth of Honda Motor Company, 1946. At first, his motorized bicycles looked ugly and noisy. Critics laughed. But Honda didn't care. He kept improving the design until they became smoother, faster, and reliable. Sales grew, and soon, Honda's little workshop was buzzing with life again. Then, in 1958, Honda launched a motorcycle that would change everything: the Super Cub. It was small, cheap, easy to ride, and tough as nails. Farmers used it. Students used it. Families used it. Soon, the Super Cub became the best-selling motorcycle in history. Japan fell in love with Honda. The world soon followed. But Honda was not satisfied. He wanted more. "If I can build motorcycles," he thought, "why not cars?" Everyone laughed. Competing with giants like Toyota and Nissan? Impossible, they said. But Honda believed otherwise. In 1963, Honda introduced its first cars: the T360 mini truck and the S500 sports car. They were small, but their engines were sharp and innovative. Slowly, the world began to take notice. When Honda entered the US market, competitors mocked him. Who would buy a tiny Japanese car? They sneered. But then came the 1970s oil crisis. Gas prices soared. Big American cars drank too much fuel. Honda's cars, light and fuel-efficient, suddenly became the perfect solution. The Honda Civic, launched in 1972, became a sensation. Affordable, reliable, and easy on gas, it won American hearts. For the first time, Japanese cars were not just cheap alternatives, they were better. Honda kept pushing boundaries. He created the Accord, a car so dependable it became America's best-selling car for years. He invented the VTEC engine, giving small cars the speed of larger ones without wasting fuel. Every invention carried his personal stamp: simple, smart, reliable. Not stopping at affordable cars, Honda shocked the world by launching Acura, the first Japanese luxury car brand, in 1986. Once again, critics doubted him, until Acura became a hit in the US. Honda loved racing. He poured resources into Formula One and motorcycle racing. Victories came one after another. These wins weren't just trophies. They proved that Honda engines could beat anyone, anywhere. By the 1990s, Honda was no longer just a company. It was a symbol of resilience, innovation, and daring. From motorbikes to cars, from Japan to the world, the name Honda stood for dreams turned real. Soichiro Honda never forgot his failures. He often laughed about the times Toyota rejected him. He told young engineers, "Success can only be achieved through repeated failure and introspection." In fact, success represents the 1% of your work that results from the 99% of failure. Soichiro Honda passed away in 1991, leaving behind a global empire. But more than that, he left behind a story. The story of a blacksmith's son who chased the roar of engines, faced rejection, endured war, rebuilt from ruins, and changed the way the world moved. From piston rings to motorbikes. From broken factories to Formula One tracks. From rejection to revolution. This is the story of Honda. From a blacksmith's son to the founder of a global empire. Soichiro Honda proved that rejection isn't the end, it's only the beginning. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories of visionaries who turned struggle into success.